Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new spoiler review. This time, talking about episode 7, the penultimate episode of Invincible. Before I get into my spoiler thoughts on Invincible on Amazon Prime, episode 7, please hit the thumbs up button, guys. It's the best way to support this channel. It's the like button. Definitely the most support I can for this channel. Also, if you're new to the channel, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews like these, streaming platform reviews, and movie rankings. So please join the channel, subscribe, share the video with other people who you know like this type of stuff. And in the comment section down below, let me know your spoiler thoughts of Invincible. Tell me your predictions for the finale without spoiling the comic book for me. Tell me, was this your favorite episode, least favorite episode, all of that below in the comment section down below. Without further ado, let's get into my spoiler review of Invincible. I'll just say this, guys. This is my favorite episode by a lot so far, and it's one of my favorite episodes of TV in years. I adore this episode. It did everything right, in my opinion, and I think a lot of shows don't do a good job with their penultimate episode because it normally has to set up a big finale. But this episode, there's so much action, but so much human emotion as well, that it kind of felt like the finale, even though you knew there's something missing. And I thought that that's why this episode for me was extremely special, was because it nailed that, you know what, we are trying to set something up for next week, but stuff still has to happen. And I thought it did a great job at doing that. And we'll just talk about the episode, break down the episode as a whole. So the episode starts with Debbie laying in bed by herself. Nolan is really and is lying to her. And he's like, well, now you know, you can still trust me. And she's like, I can't really still trust you. And then he flies out, and he's basically a supervillain in this entire episode. He really threatens William in the car. He killed a lot of people in his house, those people who work for Cecil, and those are some violent deaths there. He killed the guy who's working for Cecil, and they just kept trying to stop him the entire time. He did feel like the main villain of the show, which I thought they did a great job of. At the same time, Robot is turning into his human form, which is now Rudy. And the reveals of Robot and why he was so interested in Monster Girl really make total sense with this episode. He needed to feel comfortable around her. And because they have very similar paths, he wanted to feel comfortable around her. So he gave him because he turned into Rexplode's child self, because it just seems like she was into Rexplode. And I thought that some of those things really worked out well. And I'm so interested in seeing how more the relationship of Rudy and Monster Girl goes on for. I thought it was a really nice dynamic as well. As we move on, Amber and Mark clearly now break up. They've broken up a couple times during this season, but it feels like it's official now. Mark was about to tell her that he was invincible on the way back. She slammed the door, then he flies in, and she's like, I already knew you were invincible, and it doesn't change that you weren't lying to me. And I thought that it was a completely different path to like Spider-Man Far From Home, for example, even though I love both relationships. In Far From Home, Zendaya's MJ knew that Peter was Spider-Man, but thought it was cool and she wanted to get involved with that. This time around, Amber, again, totally different relationship. I'm just giving an example. Amber knew that he was a superhero, but she couldn't stand that he couldn't trust her weeks and months in advance, and that it's not an excuse for him not to be a good boyfriend. And I thought all of those things really make sense, and you kind of agree with Amber. It's not like you hate Mark. It felt like a first love for Mark. You can tell he wasn't really in a relationship, and he needed to learn to balance being a superhero and a human being. And I thought that balance was so well done in the show. So they officially break up. Mark goes to Eve to talk about things, and he is in a mood. He feels like he's lost in society. He feels like because his entire life he wanted to have powers, he wanted to be a superhero, but nothing is coming with it as he wanted. He still wanted to, he's failing college. His girlfriend broke up with him. His family is in turmoil. He really is in a mess, and he didn't think he would be getting into that once he became a superhero. And all of that stuff for me really came home for me. I thought it was very well done. And Eve was like, thank God I'm not with my parents anymore. I'm fighting for the people that I want to fight for. And there was even a sequence where, they saw the big fight with that kaiju and Nolan. And even though they didn't know what it was, Amber was going to go help out. I mean, not Amber, Eve was going to help out. And then Mark was like, well, you know what? They don't need me because they didn't need me before. I was a superhero, and they definitely don't need me now after I've been a superhero. And she still says there's always someone worth saving. And I thought that was such a good line because Eve has really been a good friend for Mark because she's also been balancing being a high school student and being a superhero. Now, actually, she's probably done with high school in itself and just saving people, but she can relate to what Mark is going through. And I thought all of that stuff was very well done. Their dynamic really worked. We get some vicious action scenes, and we got also Cecil confronting Omni-Man this episode, where Cecil was using his teleportation just to kill time, and he brought up Debbie, which really took Omni-Man off guard. At the same time as well, after Rudy broke out of the Waller, the twins earlier, the twins then bring back to life one of the superheroes from the Guardians of the Globe. He awakens and he wants to go right after Omni-Man. And what I thought was excellent about this show is that they actually use the idea of technology and people seeing these superheroes do stuff in a real way. Once Omni-Man began fighting the kaiju, there's 2 news helicopters there. The whole world was really watching this fight. And then they all got to watch Omni-Man kill a member of the Guardians of the Globe in front of everyone in a very violent and vicious way. And while Mark did the right thing and just did not kill off the kaiju, but just hurt it enough to not fight him anymore, at the same time, that dynamic of him not killing something, but just hurting enough to not fight with him, to seeing his dad absolutely destroy this person, was a great parallel. And I thought the show absolutely nailed that dynamic. So overall, guys, there's so much action going throughout the episode. And, and I thought that also that William and Mark conversation really rang true. William was in a position where they both are going through something, I guess breakups, but Amber dumped Mark, and William, the person he actually was into, he just became a robot last week, and they're both trying to move past it. But Mark has a lot of responsibilities, and he knows that once he became invincible, but it was a lot to handle at first. And I think the balance of, it's a very authentic character. It feels like if I was in his shoes, I would be in a very similar position, because it's tough to balance lying to people. And that's what Omni-Man has caught up doing. And he hasn't learned that lesson yet. And Mark is learning that lesson, that lying isn't a good thing. Obviously, Omni-Man has lied to his family for 20 years. Now, Mark obviously hasn't been doing it for that long, but him lying to Amber for months on end cost him that relationship. Him, lying all the time, lying to his family, has cost him. But Mark is learning this very early, and Omni-Man has not learned that. And that's why the dynamic between, we're going to get, obviously, and Cecil said the only person who could take out Omni-Man is Mark, that they need Mark versus Omni-Man next week. And I know that was going to happen in the comics, but the fact that it felt rewarded, it felt earned that we're getting to that point. And I am so pumped for the finale next week. I absolutely love this show, and I adore the show, and I really, really love this past episode. Easily my favorite episode of the show so far. It got me emotional. It got me my jaw dropped 5 times. I said, holy crap, 10 times. And the violence was so violent, but so good at the same time. So overall, guys, I'm actually loving this show. So ring that bell for notifications when you're notified on when I post my season 1 finale spoiler review of this show. I'm so pumped and nervous to talk about the show next week. So again, thank you for joining me on my spoiler journey of Invincible. Like the video, share, subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below your thoughts of Invincible. 2 more videos today: Falcon and Winter Soldier season finale review and Mortal Kombat. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Ring the bell to notify when those videos drop.